All right, fellas, we have Jim Harbaugh. So we didn't actually talk about this because we wanted to go one episode without talking about the Michigan sign stealing, and we accomplished it. Sunday night, we had one episode where there was no Harbaugh, no sign stealing talk, and like weeks. But inevitably draws us right back in because Jim Harbaugh was going to be the honorary captain at the Michigan opener game, but now he has called Sharon Moore and told him that he needed to look over his team more and make sure there was no cheating or anything going on that he wasn't aware of. So he has to be with the Chargers closer to the season starting. He's not going to be there. They're still going to honor him. His parents are going to be there on the field to be there for the honoring. But Matty, you tell me. I'm an Ohio State fan. Zach's an Ohio State fan. You tell me. You kind of have an outside perspective looking at this. Do you think that this was Michigan trying to spite the NCAA, or I mean, the article talks about, oh, we have this in plans for months since back to January, stuff like that. Or are you kind of like us, where you're like, yeah, this was totally just to spite the NCAA, which I'm not saying is bad. I condone it, by the way. Spite the NCAA, they stink.
Yeah, I don't.
Preach.
I don't know if there's any. I think it. Again, not being an Ohio State guy, and I can use the letter M in different words and things like that. I don't know if there's anything nefarious about this. I mean, what are we, a week or two away from NFL? I mean, the real first weekend of college, and then NFL starts the following week, right? So he'd be there basically a week prior to his first Chargers game.
Yes,
Is that right?
and I think it's like the last preseason game.
Yeah.
Day before. Yeah.
I mean, so I'm kind of surprised that they had him set up to be an honorary captain for that anyway. Usually you'd think about, he'd be back when the Chargers are on a bye week or something, right? So I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. I don't think that there's anything going on. But if I was an Ohio State fan, I definitely would be saying, oh, here goes Lion Jimmy again. I don't know, whatever you guys call him.
Lion Jimmy, that's a new one. I'm not. I'll try that one out with some other Ohio State fans and see what they think. I'll give you ownership, Matty.
Oh, thank you. But you could probably think of something a little more nasty than that. That's pretty tame.
TJ, what are your thoughts here? Do you think this was spiting the NCAA, or are you kind of like Matty, where you're like, no, it's just kind of coincidence?
I don't. That's a good question. I hadn't thought about it that way. Let me tell you guys, I kind of always liked Jim Harbaugh. Like going back to his playing days, like kind of quirky, but always kind of liked him. And like even when we we don't have the history with Ohio State or Michigan. So when we came into the Big Ten, it was like, well, we're one of you guys. Like we're just gonna be like, this is gonna be fun. Like we're like you. And so like I have hated both of you, at times over the last 10 or 11 years or whatever it's been, but we don't have the 100+ years worth of hatred for either program. And so even when he went to Michigan, it was like, well, this is a good fit. It's good for the conference, all those things. What I found just completely obnoxious, and Yankee Wolverine excluded, obviously, but is just like the sort of, and I guess this is totally anecdotal and based on Twitter more than anything else, but just like the complete defiance. And it's like Astros fans of just like embracing the championship, no questions asked. We didn't like, I don't care, cry harder, what, like that kind of attitude when it's like, no, but like if you cheated in a way that benefited you, then like that's one thing that like really should disqualify your championship. Right. And so I find that obnoxious. I could also believe if like it never got up to Jim Harbaugh and like that like it happened and he really didn't know. I could believe that was a real thing that happened. So I don't know. Sorry, I know that's not the question you asked, JR. But it is. I do wonder if like they asked Lion Jimmy, and at first, he was like all excited about it, and then somebody was like, "You should probably have you seen the headlines? You should probably just stay away. You should probably just like have you seen the stuff about the text messages? You should maybe just say that you have other responsibilities with the Chargers now."
Yeah, I mean, I look at this whole thing and I do think there was an aspect of like coincidence here, right? That like they were probably going to announce this, with the time frame before the season started to get fans excited. Well, it just so happened that's, around the same time that the NCAA decided to put out their punishment for Jim Harbaugh with the show cause and stuff like that. And I do think there is probably a part of Jim Harbaugh that's like, guys, I just got a 4-year show cause. Do I really want to come back and
Right.
stand on like this is not really something that, yes, I'm sure you tell him like, he loves Michigan and all that kind of stuff, but like, does he really want to go through and, just have all this heat on him with that stuff and then move on onto the field and be honored there? I don't know. Zach, what's your take?
Well, so I just wrote an article for the College Huddle titled 5 Nonsensical Statements in regards to the Michigan sign stealing scandal. And my fifth one was people keep calling it a witch hunt. And on one hand, it does, at times it can feel like a witch hunt. And I want to actually validate that thought. But what makes it not a witch hunt is that Michigan's PR department might actually be more incompetent than the NCAA. It just
hard to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like
They accomplished something. Good for them.
how do you have Harbaugh as the honorary captain as they're announcing the show cause? And then as Harbaugh is withdrawing, he does not say, hey, this is probably not a good look. But he says, oh, I need to be with my team. It's like, and then Sharon Moore is like, we're totally not trying to spite the NCAA. Like, who is coaching these guys to say these things? What are we doing? Like, how can you be this bad at your job?
I like to think the tweet was scheduled back in January. Like, you can go out and you can schedule tweets for a really long time.
It's
and
true.
Like, Sharon was like, we can't forget to have this one come out on this date, yada, yada, yada. And then, so I'd be like, oh, crap, that tweet went live. We never deleted it.
Well, and I don't blame Harbaugh or Sharon Moore. Well, I do in this regard. Like, Harbaugh should have just said, hey, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm just going to focus on the team and let Michigan. That's all you have to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
But my question, who's coaching these coaches to say things? Because it's this type of stuff that gets people ticked off. Because it's this whole package of, well, we didn't do anything wrong. It just, this is why I'm doing it. It's like, that's why fans outside of Michigan are ticked off. And it's not just Ohio State fans. It's like everybody being like, guys, you got egg on your face. Just acknowledge it.
Yeah. Own it.
I wonder if the PR coach of the coaches at Michigan was trained at UCLA.
That's possible.
It's just something, I don't know.
Hey, I bet he lives in LA.
Probably.
Yeah. They're in LA.
We should look into that.
They're in LA.
We have a lot of good comments here on this one, as I thought we might have some people interested in some good NCAA versus Harbaugh discussion as it has flooded social media. Brian says if Michigan had cooperated, it'd be over by now, but they put up as many obstacles as possible.
Yes.
Yes. Bright guy bringing the heat tonight.
Yeah. Brian's always bringing the heat in the comments. We appreciate him. He also says, I personally believe that at some point we'll learn that Harbaugh funded it. Harbaugh is what he means there.
Oh.
That's another Ohio State nickname, not Lion Jimmy.
That's Hairball's probably better. It sounds.
What does he mean?
Sounds like his name.
Yeah.
What does he mean?
Hairball.
What does he mean funded it? Like the costume purchases?
No, Constable.
The glasses with the nose.
Those are expensive sunglasses. Somebody had to fund those.
Yeah.
So, there were some other good ones in here. Yankee had a good one. His parents.
They seem like lovely people.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm with you guys. I think it's just at the end of the day, Michigan just needs to. I mean, they can spite the NCAA and do all that stuff later on, but for now, when they've got it in their hands, and they're deliberating on what to do, just let them do their thing. Don't mess with them. Tell Jim, like, dude, don't comment on the stupid questions about all this stuff, because even though he's not with Michigan anymore, the NCAA still looks at that and they're like, oh, really? Really, Jim, you didn't lie, you didn't steal, you didn't cheat. Okay, well, we won't think too hard when we punish you in Michigan at the end of the day, which I looked at that a little bit, and we'll see what kind of punishments Michigan will actually get for their level 1 violation. But most of the violations here are actually on the coaches and former coaches of the program. I think personally, the worst thing that could possibly happen to Michigan here is something happens to Sharon Moore. I don't really think there's much more than a fine and maybe probation they can do to Michigan. Obviously, you can vacate wins in the championship, but like we've talked about on here before, it doesn't change anything. The fans still experienced it. The fans still got to celebrate it. Like, okay, you vacated it. Good job. Everybody still went and had fun. So at the end of the day, like, the worst thing that could possibly happen here is something to Sharon Moore. He has a level 2 violation. It's not even level 1. So
You guys, that Joey guy on Twitter and on social media who does the imitation, does the Saban imitation. He does a Harbaugh imitation.
Oh,
Joey Molinaro. Yeah.
Joey, he needs to do a conversation of he needs to do an imitation of somebody from Michigan calling Harbaugh and telling him not to say anything, and just like, yeah, Jim, listen, can you, what? I feel like Joey would do it much better than me, but I think somebody needs to put that out there.
Yeah.
It's like, Jim, if you could just stop saying you didn't lie. Well, I didn't lie.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you just stop saying you didn't cheat. I didn't cheat.
I didn't cheat.
Word on the street is they're calling you Lion Jimmy now.
Yeah. Lion Jimmy and Hairball. Two.
Yeah.
What?
Oh.
Oh man. All right.